We planting seeds in the streets where the hearts is cold, where the young ones bleed, where the truth ain't told, where the pain run deep and the dreams get stole. We bring light to the block, the righteous seed will grow. From boys to kings, from girls to queens. No more suffering in our sleep, it's just a righteous dream. We speak light in the mist where the darkness unfold, healing our youth, hoping y'all could save their soul. The YNs, they walking around with a pole in their book bag. Heart so cold they end up with a toe tag. No pops, just a Glock and the pain in their jeans. Mama be working double, missing all of their dreams. So the block, they raise them up in a predator way, where the love is getting taxed and the trust don't pay. The OGs, they put some trauma like it's part of the code. Now they sleep with a pole, feeling safe on the road. I walk around with the word, expose the thief in the night. Speaking life to the broken, trying to bring them to light. Told the shorties on the block, don't let the trauma define you. Yahweh see your scars through the fire, refine you. We planting
Excuse me. Yeah, BMore4Real. We in here. My bad about that. BMore4Real. We are in the building. Let's make sure y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me, right? Right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. BMore4Real. Another Wednesday. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Pleasure to be before the people again. Like I said, which I missed because it was on mute. Sorry about that. I gotta get used to that. But yeah, just another Wednesday, and it's the realest conversation on the net. It's brought to you by way of Real Explosions. If this is your first time listening, please make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Today we got a good topic for y'all. Y'all already know what's up, man. This is the death of the dead, man. Blood ain't thicker than policy, obviously. And yeah, that makes sense. But I wasn't trying to rhyme either. But blood ain't thicker, excuse me, than policy. We're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about my week. Let's have a BMore4Real moment. So on this BMore4Real moment, first of all, I wanted to say that last week, what I forgot to mention was I was working with Shameless, right? Shameless coming up this Tuesday as well. Shout out to Shameless Unplugged. They actually gave out, was it $1,000? No. $1,100. They gave out like $1,200 on their live show. Again, they gave out $1,200 on the live show, and it was so awesome to work with those guys as well. Monday night sports show, y'all already know we work with those guys. The children today, the children. We work with the children. We work with everything. Everybody in every different type of capacity. It's just a pleasure to be around the people that I'm around. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and act like, my week was all great and everything. Outside of work, it's a struggle, but it's life. You feel what I'm saying? We go through life. But anyway, I wanted to go ahead and let's go over some of these clips. Let's go ahead and run them.
I'm gonna kill these mofos for real. Give me a chance. It was more of a comment, right? They don't need this as a passport.
But anyway, I gave y'all props. That's it. I'm done with y'all. That's it.
Oh, keep it coming. It's not the end. It's not the end. V's a legend. Like.
So, I mean, sometimes stuff like that does cause a distraction. So, had him off his game. Like, he knew something was coming out. Like, when he was kicking that ball, something else was going through his head. 16 therapists, accusations, from 2012 to 2016. Yeah, it's kind of weird because, like, the timing of it, but just for 16
What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, obviously.
I was like, who does that? Who does that? Who does that?
So,
right, like people think you just go in there and boom, one cut, and it takes time and effort. And,
absolutely. You got to really invest into it. And
right.
You got to really
Tune in to Be More Sports Talk Live every Monday at 7 p.m. exclusively on the Be More Pod Network.
I'm gonna kill these mofos for real. Give me a chance.
All right, that's the Monday Night Sports Show. That's the Monday Night Sports Show. Tomorrow, of course, it's going to be Thursday night at BMore Pod. Make sure y'all go ahead and check out my guys on BMore Pod. I ain't gonna take up too much of y'all time. I don't want to run too much of the clips. Everybody's seen them. If you haven't, go ahead and check out the whole entire BMore Pod network. Shout out to those guys as well. We're gonna clap it up again. So also, this is, the summer winding down and everything else like that. So we getting into football season. We are getting into football season, and the Ravens, they have their preseason game tomorrow. I'm not gonna be able to watch their game tomorrow, but what I will do is I will watch the highlights, because y'all already know I'm gonna be doing some work behind the scenes with this one. Hopefully the Ravens do their thing. It probably won't be no starters. More than likely, no starters will be out there on the field. It's just an evaluation of talent. They got to knock them rosters down from what they got. They got to knock the rosters down from 90. I think it's a 90-man roster, and they have to go all the way down to a 54-man roster. So that's that. Shout out to the Ravens, by the way. 20-0 uploading. Shout out to the Ravens, 20-0 uploading. What else did I want to talk about? Last week, I forgot to mention as well, they kept saying, and I heard them kept saying, "Happy birthday, Baltimore." I'm like, what? Happy birthday, Baltimore. From my understanding, Baltimore was founded in March or something, but obviously something happened in July, and I forgot what it was, but Baltimore been in the city, and they had I guess the birthday of Baltimore last week, so shout out to Baltimore on that one. We Be More for Real, so we gotta do it. You know what I'm saying? It's Be More for Real, so it has to happen. We just gotta do it. Now, I know the stream kind of choppy, so I just want y'all to pay attention with me and everything else like that. I'm not gonna take up too much of your time tonight, but we're gonna go ahead and shift over to the topic of the night. The topic of the night, man. The topic of the night, and it's not the T app. We forgot to change that, but it's not the T app. But the topic of the night, we're going to talk about the death of dads, and really we should talk about the strength of marriages, and it's very important, this topic that we're talking about, like extremely important. I'm not going to have too much stuff, but what I do want to do is share video. Let's do this. Let's share media, and let's share initially the standpoint on where I'm coming from. Let's go ahead and bring this video clip up. And let's make sure you guys can hear it.
Laws against Black American people you didn't know existed. This one's called the no man in the house rule. If you grew up with a healthy family dynamic, you understand that the Black father is very important, as he is the structure, guidance, and influence. And because of this is what makes a Black family very strong and powerful. But in the 1950s and 60s, that strength was targeted. The man in the house rule, a policy tied to welfare programs, said that if a man lived in the home, the family did not qualify for government support. Social workers would do surprise visits, checking closets for men's shoes, inspecting beds for signs of a father. So to feed their kids, mothers had to hide their husbands, or worse, push them out. It wasn't about help, it was about control, and about breaking the Black household from the inside out. So Black women, please don't allow them to lie to you and say that you don't need a man. They don't want you to need your man while they sit at home with their husbands and children.
Deep. So of course, some of us knew, some of us as viewers, of course, we already knew. But let me tell you about the family dynamic and why this is so important. Because like I said last week when I was talking about the T app, and I believe I said it on the week before last, who knows? But I've said it, and I'm gonna say this as well too as a disclaimer, right? So I'm an advocate for family, and I'm an advocate for men, right? And this is gonna get deep. The way as though I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have a 2-part episode on this, because there's so much information to bring forth that I can't even. It's just so much information to bring forth. that it has to be explained maybe in a 2-part series because there's not enough time in the world. But let us remind you, need I remind you, that this program is made to deprogram you to what you have been programmed to. So a lot of stuff that I'm going to say, you know what I'm saying, women may not appreciate it or may not accept it because, you know, I'm an advocate for men. Of course, there's not a woman on the panel, so if you have something to say, leave it below in the comments and we can get to it. And then secondly, and most importantly, above all, what I will say is that, you know, we are conditioned to have confirmation bias, and so this is kind of like a program to coach you out of confirmation bias. It gets you out of that comfortable feeling of having your ears tickled and wanting somebody to please and stroke your ego. This is not that type of channel. I'm definitely not here to brown nose anybody or anything like that. We are here to be more for real, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to be more for real. We're going to be more for real. So she touched on a couple things, right? And what I want to do is I want to bring up, because she had a couple things, and I wonder if I can actually find this. Give me a second. Let me go ahead and pull this up. Let me go ahead and find this next media clip that we're going to bring up. Let me go ahead and find it. We're talking about screenshots. Let's see. What does this say? This is the one I'm looking for, right? Okay, so she brought up a couple of things in her video, and I had to screenshot it to make sure that you guys can see it. It says, the no man in the house rule refers to the historical welfare policy in the United States, primarily during the 20th century, that had significant impact on low-income black families, especially during the era of aid to families with dependent children, AFDC. Which was the main federal welfare system program, from 1935 until it was replaced by TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, in 1996. So now, what we're doing is we basically breaking down what's happening here. And the reason why I'm saying this, and the reason why it's so important, is because we have lost our way, so to speak, in today's society. And let me tell you why I say that, right? Because we have left the natural use of man and woman, right? And we started gravitating towards what society telling us, you know, we got to get this home, we got to do that, we got to get this job, we got to buy us a private plane, we got to become millionaires and billionaires, and we just got to be ultra successful. And that's where our focus is shifted at, right? But now check this out, though. Check this out, because the families, right, what really builds power, what really builds wealth, and this is the reason why I'm saying this, what really builds power and what really builds wealth, which is families, that is under attack right now. And it's been that way. It's been that way. And I'm going to tell you the importance of marriage and the family and everything else like that. And we're going to get off into the statistics of it, but what I want to tell you is and what I want to stress is the importance of family. Now, remember, I'm an advocate for men. I'm an advocate for families. I'm an advocate for men, especially black men. I'm an advocate for families, especially black families. Now, this program, again, is made to deprogram you, which you've been programmed to. So I think I'm the only one, or one of the only ones that think like this, because I have to use my own mind. I have to use my own brain. And I'm asking myself, you know, why is it such a decline, right, in marriages, right? And there is a lot to unpack in that in and of itself. And see, the market is oversaturated. Excuse me, the market is oversaturated. And what I mean by the market, I mean the podcast market, and you know, all of these talking platforms where you talk and all this stuff. These things have been oversaturated. There's a lot of people talking about relationships and the struggle between man and woman. But what I want to exacerbate, the point that I want to bring out is the attack and the reason why things are the way they are. And what we find out here, come to find out, and it's crazy, is that the government has conspired to keep marriages, especially black marriages and black families, apart. And it's a reason why. And remember, I was talking about the TAP, all this stuff, division and all this stuff. It's a reason why. And so we see that back in the days, right, they had laws that they had passed in order to have the no man in the house rule. Now tell me why the government would have a no man in the house rule. And then they would go as far as to make sure the man wasn't home. They'd go in there, they'd check the belongings and check the clothes and all that stuff. And if they did find an able-bodied man or something, an able-bodied male in the house, grown man, then they would, of course, deny your benefits. So this is one of the other things that she brought up, you know, and this is the impact on black families. The rule had a particularly devastating impact on black communities, exacerbating existing socio-economic challenges and contributing negatively to the stereotypes about black fathers. Again, I'm gonna read that again. It says the rule had a particularly devastating impact on black communities, exacerbating existing socioeconomic challenges and contributing to negative stereotypes about black fathers. So now this is, oh my goodness, this is good information, man. I hope the people really listening and this message gets out to who it's supposed to get out to, because the families are important. The families are what builds wealth. And I will say this to the black people, so quote unquote black people, the African Americans in America, we have to understand that how we've become at the bottom of the totem pole. See, while we're glamorizing all the stuff on TV and the strong independent woman stuff and this MGTOW and all this red pill conversation, these gender war conversations and stuff like that, while we are having these conversations, and I'm not gonna say they're not important because they are, it's just that the market is oversaturated. I'm gonna attack it from a different angle, because we BMore4Real. And I'm going to say that the government is used as a catalyst and as an agent to speed up the process of the demise of the family. And the reason why is because it's so that we will all become more dependent on government resources. And this is why it's ultra important to get our people into government and to keep them out of certain aspects of society. And I'm going to tell you the reason for the decline and all that stuff in marriages, but what I want to do is make sure that we actually bring up the solid proof. So let's go ahead and bring this one up as well, and we're gonna read this one as well too. Because now remember, this was the video I just played, so she was going too fast for me to actually read what was going on top of her head, so I had to pause it and things like that. So let me go ahead and bring this up. This was okay. This is what the rule was, right? The no man in the house. The rule prohibited households from receiving welfare benefits if an adult male, particularly the father of the children or romantic partner, was present in the home. Welfare caseworkers often conducted surprise home visits to determine if a man was staying in the home, which could lead to benefits being denied or revoked. Now remember, that's what I just said. So they will go in and they would check these households, right? And they would go through your stuff and rummage through your stuff, and they would make sure that the man isn't present in the home. And for all those out there who believe in the Bible, call themselves Christians or Bible believers, Bible thumpers, I want you to realize this, right? This is what I want you to realize. The Bible says that a thief can't suffer the house unless he binds the strong man first. And so these are the tactics. It says a house divided against itself will not stand. And so now, in order to get these benefits, right, you had to get the man out the house and all that stuff. But let me tell you why it's important and why it's on the decline, right? Because families are the ones that build true wealth. It's not really independency and stuff like that. It's family, having families. Notice how immigrants, when they come over to America and they start building their generational wealth and all that stuff, they come over with families. This is how generational wealth is built. This is how it's passed down. This is how kids start to be born with silver spoons in their mouths. Again, this is how kids have started to be born with silver spoons in their mouth. And it's a reason why they don't want the families, particularly black families and black communities, to thrive. Because they know the power of the family. Again, they know the power of the family. I'm definitely not gonna preach up here. Trust me, I ain't come here to preach at all. But look, this is what's going on. This is what's going on. See, we already brought that up. Let's make sure I can bring this one up. Let me see which one this one is. We already brought this one up, right? So let me go ahead and remove that. Let me bring this other one up. I'm trying to catch you up to speed. Like I said, it's gonna have to be a 2-part series because there's so much information that It's just a lot to get through. Let's see if I can do. Let's pull this one up. Hurry up, man. Okay, so that didn't want to go. Let's pull this up because I want to show you something. And it's a pattern. Oh boy, do I love patterns. Let's see if I can get this shot up on the screen. I'm gonna find it real quick. For you guys. There it goes. Let's put this graphic up on the screen. And I got this from ChatGPT, one of the good resources that we have out here today. It says long-term trend decline, and it's talking about marriages, right? Let me go ahead and make sure I can read it with you guys. It says, since the 1970s, the U.S. marriage rate has dropped by nearly 60%. For instance, in 1970, it was around 16 to 17 marriages per 1,000 adults, falling to about 6 per 1,000 as of 2022. As of 2024, only 47.1% of U.S. households are headed by married couples, down by nearly 79% in the late 40s, falling below the 50% mark since 2010. And so now, look, I don't like to argue with people. I like to bring up facts and all this stuff, right? So we see a trend. We see a decline in the marriage rates. And trust and believe, black people are not the only ones going through this struggle with the marriage rates and the marriage decline. We're just the most impacted because we're at the bottom. Of course, especially marriages and stuff like that, it's going to impact the, for lack of better words, lower class, lower socioeconomical citizens than it does the wealthy. I'm not really sure the wealthy even care about marriage in terms of prenuptial agreements and stuff like that. In terms of, just getting married, yeah, they can get married, they can find whoever they want to support. It's just the divorce thing, which leads me to my point of why people aren't getting married. And I don't care if men disagree with me and stuff like that. It's a reason why men are not getting married anymore. And let me take that off. Let me just take that off. It's the reason why men aren't getting married anymore. And I know as much as people wouldn't like to hear it, like I said, I'm a male, number one, I'm a black man, I'm a father. So I'm an advocate for men. I'm an advocate for males, I'm an advocate for fathers, especially black fathers, and y'all know the rest, right? Don't have a woman's perspective and all that stuff as far as what I'm talking about. But what I will say is this, right? Men are not getting married because men are starting to be smarter in the government. Let's say, okay, I done built my wealth, right? And a woman that we choose to marry and we get divorced and she gets all this stuff, she get the kids, she get everything. Men are not seeing the benefit in marriage. And see, the government is aiding and incentivizing divorce for women and all that other stuff, right? Women are 70% of the ones who initiate divorce, right? That number goes up, and college-educated women to 90%. 90% of college-educated women file for divorce. Ironically, though, that could be misleading. College-educated women are more likely to have marriages that last 15 or 20 plus years. Even if it doesn't divorce, they are more likely to have marriages that last more than 15 to 20 years, right? So that can be a little misleading. But it's BMore4Real. Don't worry about it. I got you. This BMore4Real. Don't worry about it. I got you, right? So it's a reason why men aren't marrying, because a lot of men nowadays don't see a benefit in marriage. And a man might say, yo, he's lying and all that stuff. I know it might be a lot of men that disagree with me, right? But the thing is, they not married. I bet you a lot of the men that disagree with me, they're not married. And the men that are married or have been married and been divorced, they're going to tell you the same thing that I'm telling you now. And so a lot of that because, men, we're the one that get on our knees and we propose to the women. I mean, I know times has changed a little bit. Sometimes women do it, but that's unacceptable in my opinion. That's unacceptable. But anyway, as I digress, what I wanted to say is that the incentives for men to get married are not there. They just simply aren't there. So nowadays in this generation, people are asking themselves, like, what do I do? That's what they're asking themselves. What do I do instead? And that's why you get the MGTOW, the men going their own way, right? You got men going their own way. They're not worried about women at all. And I don't know if, a lot of women will try to call it gay, but as I regress again, I'm just saying the benefit of marriage has just not been there for men. Especially when you have kids and all that stuff, and then you leave and the kids go with her and you have to fight for custody rights and all this other stuff. It gets real ugly. And so men are now at a standpoint, right, where we like, if the laws don't change, we won't never get married. And see, the problem with that is that's why the population rates are on the decline. This is why America is doing a lot of things like trying to stop abortion and all that stuff, because people in the next generation, they are fed up. And it's causing them not to have kids, which is causing other societal, remember I told you I make up words, right? It's causing other societal or societal issues in and of itself. And I'm not saying that they're not intentionally doing that so that they can usher in a new agenda and a new wave of whatever they want to usher in. But what I'm saying is the pushback. See, we've lost the natural use of man and woman, and we've gravitated to these materialistic things, you know what I'm saying? Instead of judging people off the content of their character, we're judging people off of the content of their wealth in their pockets, what they have in their bank accounts and stuff like that. And it's becoming so superficial that people don't even know what love is to begin with. But let me tell you how powerful marriage is and how powerful relationships is, because this is what keeps our generations going on. See, this is the reason why we're here on this earth. You can say, okay, I'm here, I want the cars, I want the clothes and all that stuff, but if you're not building the next future generation of people, then what are you doing? The world still has to go on with or without you, and you have to help build that legacy. This is what we're here for. This is our natural, God-ordained purpose for being here. And see, we left that because society tells us that, yo, you gotta pay your bills, yo, you gotta do this, man, you gotta do that, man, and it's become to a point where it has weighed us down. And so now we have men in society, right? These men in society now, they are like, no, forget being married. There's no benefits to marriage. And so soon enough too, I'm going to have somebody on this show, right? Have somebody that's running for office and stuff like that, because some laws have to change, right? And like I said, I'm an advocate for men and all this stuff, but this stuff is legal extortion. When somebody builds their wealth, when a man builds his wealth and builds his own kingdom, right? And then it comes along a wife, right? And she now, because you divorced, she receives half of what you're going through. It's a bad deal. It's a bad deal all the way around for men. See, the government does not incentivize men to get married. As a matter of fact, men are straying away from it. They're doing the direct opposite, because now men have learned. Men are choosing not to have children and reproduce, which is essential to the function and reproduction of our entire human race. But men are choosing not to even have kids. Not me, of course, because I was hard-headed. I got 3 of them. I got 3 boys. But I'm just saying, these are the trends that's going on in America. This is why they're stopping abortions. So I'm not just talking about me personally. Even though I don't fit that has nothing to do with it. I'm just speaking facts, right? As I regress or digress, right? What I'm saying is, when men do have obligation and all stuff, and child support and all stuff, now the man is obligated to take care of a child that especially if he's there 50% of the time, it's like, yeah, you can still get your child 4 or 5 days out of the week. And I'm gonna talk about this again too next week, because I don't have those videos. I can bring up a lot of those videos and bring up a lot of that stuff, but what I want to do right now is focus on marriage, and it's very important. Whoa, what's up, family? It's in the icon in the building. Yeah. What's up, big brother? How you feeling, man? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. But marriage, right? And child support and all these things, these are an attack on men, right? This is legal extortion. I mean, like, man, it's 2025. At one point in time, do people wake up and say and realize that, oh, this is wrong? And at what point are our sisters going to join in on a fight against us? You heard the sister on the video, right? The video I just shared. She said, look, the government is trying to replace the man. It's trying to replace the dad. You know what I'm saying? This is why they had the no man in the house rule, and we brought it up. We already showed you what it was, right? But this is why the man is important, right? Because oftentimes men feel like we're not important, right? We feel like we do this, we do that, we do this, and we never get recognized for it. Nobody ever says, you know, I recognize your hard work, I recognize you trying, that you putting your best into it, you're all into it. None of that. It's only what you don't do. It's only what you don't fulfill and all that other stuff. Like, people never remember what you do, what they do for you. And this goes for women too a lot of times, especially parents. But people never remember what you do for them, but they damn sure remember what you don't do for them. You can help them out 100 times, but it could be that one time that you never helped, and that's all they're gonna remember. Like, yo, when I needed you this time, you wasn't there. But what about the 99 others? Oh, they just conveniently forgot. That's what you call selective memory, by the way. But as I digress, look, this is the importance of marriage. See, the importance of marriage is marriage starts the communities. The communities raise the neighborhoods raise the regions raise the states raise the coast, and the coast raise the nations. So the nation, to have a nation of people, it starts off with the family. This is how important it is. And I mean, like, the most basic things about life, the very basic things about life, we are being tricked up out of. Like I said, we are losing the natural state of man and woman. We don't even know what it is anymore. And this is why people walking around depressed, because you don't even understand your purpose. See, we are put here to be fruitful and multiply. For those people that believe in the word, be fruitful and multiply. See, some people can't have kids of their own. For some people, they have all these medical conditions and all this stuff. Some people, the only way that they can help the community is being a part of that village, to be a part of that village that shows that the man, how a man is supposed to treat a woman, which we know. Everybody always say, we care about women and children, right? But nobody's ever seeing how to treat the man, how the man's supposed to be dealt with, how the man is supposed to be treated and respected. We never ever talk about that. We never ever teach our kids on how to respect men and all that other stuff. And this is why families are important, because the more men we have, the respect is taught at home. But especially with these broken family households, a lot of the single parents like to ridicule the other parent, you know what I'm saying, when they're not there. They like to make up ideas, put things in their children's head, mostly women. Sorry to say, but I'm not. It's BMore4Real. And like I said, it's not a female on the panel with me either. So unless there's a woman, if you got a discrepancy, you're going to have to leave them in the comments, because this is going to get hot. This is going to get heated. But see, the marriage rates have declined because men don't see the benefit in marriage. What are we gaining from being married is the question. Because oftentimes it's always take. Oh, I need a man to do this, I need a man to do that, I need a man to do that, and then there's nothing in reciprocation, there's nothing in return. It's just looking at a bad body, it's looking at a good face or whatever. It's never about how you feel. And see, the people, and I'm about to get into it on this video, right? People like the idea of marriage, but the actual reality of it is too much for them to handle. It's just like how I say this too, and I learned this from a wise man as well. I like to say this, that women like the idea of a man, but the reality of a man is too much for them to handle. Like, they like a man that, oh yeah, I like a man that's tough and rugged and all that stuff, and then put you in your place. But the moment a man say, yo, shut up and listen, now you want to be all offensive, now you want to be all aggressive, now you want to play all these psychotic, what do they call it? Because I was just talking about it today too. It's like a victim narcissism type of thing, right? Where people play victim, but it's a form of narcissism, right? Because by you playing victim, when you say, oh, you're gonna hurt my feelings if you do this, it's a control tactic. It's a form of narcissism. When you use your victimhood, because let me say this too, and I already posted that too. By the way, follow me on Facebook and all that stuff. It's my real name, so y'all already know what it is. But let me say this too. Your partner is not responsible for paying for your past experiences. They shouldn't have to tiptoe around your feelings because of your past experiences, unless it dealt with them. But it's up for you to heal, right, on your own. Your feelings are something that you have to protect, and your emotions are something that you have to protect, right? That's your mental. Somebody else cannot provide that for you. So if something triggers you and all that stuff about another person who did not create this trauma, then you have to deal with that outside of that person, because that person is not responsible. Again, a wise man once said that having a person in your present pay for mistakes of your past equals no future. Okay, OMG, I'm gonna say that again. OMG, Danny. A wise man once said that having a person in your present pay for the mistakes of the person or people in your past equals no future. And see, we have to learn that we can't take our emotions and stuff like that out on the world, because then we start to antagonize people who do not deserve it. And then especially when you get in the love that you're supposed to receive, you start to self-sabotage, like this is too good to be true, and you start to block your own blessings. And so this is what society has created, and this is why marriage and family is so important. I'm telling you, I'm gonna cook it up for you. Before I continue, right? Let me go ahead into another video. Let's make sure it's the right video. I want to make sure this is the right video. Let's go ahead and do it. I want to keep a healthy conversation, right? Let's put up Dr. Bryant. She was on one of them shows, Tamron Hall show or something like that.
Well, social media teaches you that everybody is what? Replaceable. And they're not. And let me tell you why. Because people are falling in love with the ideology, the fairy tale of marriage, not with the person. So if you want marriage in the fairy tale, not the person, then you'll be able to take marriage and your ID and clothe it on anyone you come in contact with. Ooh. You never plug into anybody. But if you're trying to be in a relationship with a person, you plug into that person. That means they are not replaceable. They're not. Because if you're my best friend and I plug into you, Tamron, and we have an argument or a fallout, and I plugged into you, not just the idea of a best friend, if we get into it, girl, I'm heartbroken. Yes. When my mother and I get into a small disagreement and we barely disagree, we're both in turmoil because I'm plugged into my mama. I'm plugged into her. So if I say anything that harms her, I'm hurt. Yeah. I feel it. I love that. And I'm running to resolve. And so in a marriage, if we're plugged into the person, that means that what they feel, we empathize with them. We're not plugged into an idea, and we don't look at them and say, well, we could take this idea and go clothe anyone else with it. You're going to end up with a sheep with wolf clothing. You do that? I love that. I love that.
All right, we're going to go ahead and clap that up, man. That was awesome. I don't agree with everything Dr. Bryan says. Of course, I don't agree with everything everybody else says. Nobody agrees with everything everybody says, by the way. But what I will say is this, man. That was an awesome take. That was an awesome segment. I will say this. I'm not a relationship advice or guru either. If you would like relationship advice, seek a counselor, a life coach, somebody that's licensed, therapist, somebody along those lines, guidelines, your pastor, deacons, elders, those people that's in those type of ministries. But still, nonetheless, I would still like to talk about it because it's something that needs to be said. It's BMore4Real. It's not like I can't talk about it, because at the end of the day, these are some stuff that we experience in society in our own lives as well. But let me tell you the importance of marriage, right? And she just told you, right? She just said that a lot of people like the idea of marriage. People say marriage, right? When I want to get married, they think of it as a day. Typically, this is women, no lie. Look, I'm not trying to just throw stones. I'm not trying to gaslight. I'm trying to be as upfront and honest as possible. See, a lot of you people don't even deserve upfront honesty, because then you start to act like a person is being under attack, and now I become your enemy because I tell you the truth. Which means that if I'd have told you a lie, you'd have been more comfortable with liars around you. So you deserve to be lied to. Watch who you keep. Watch the company you keep, and watch how they coddle your feelings. Those are the people that are scared, that step on your toes out of fear of how you would react. Which means that you have confirmation bias. Somebody can't disagree with you. That's another reason why we can't grow in our health and in our marriages. But as I regress or digress, what I will say is this. So people like the idea, right? We like the idea of marriage. We see marriage as that one day, right? We see marriage as us walking through the aisles or going to the courthouse or whatever, having all the people. But I don't think people dream of going to the courthouse to get married. You know, people like the Disney Channel, they like the movie Hollywood scene of getting married, right? They see marriage as just that one day, not knowing that marriage is really every day after. That one day where you get, that's just a ceremony. That's getting married. But marriage is a lifelong commitment until death do us part. And like I said, we have lost the natural use of that. And see, for a lot of men, especially like myself, right? I'm gonna keep it honest, right? I'm gonna keep it a bang with you, because I ain't rich by far. I'm far from rich. Matter of fact, I'm broke. I'm brokety broke. Fuck that. I'm broke. You heard what I said, right? So if they ask, yeah, I'm broke. I ain't making no money off of this. I'm spending money on this. It costs money to do this every week, right? It's coming out of my own pockets, right? But what I'm gonna say is this, right? If I get rich or wealthy, when I get rich or wealthy, and there's no woman there, right, beside me during the process, oh, trust and believe, when I get wealthy, there won't be no queen in that kingdom. I said what I said. I said what I said. Did you not hear me? I said what I said. I said, look, if I get wealthy and there isn't a queen right there with me the whole time, there won't be one. It damn sure won't be one, because what is the benefit of that to me? I don't think that people realize that. And like I said, the government incentivized this, but men are now becoming quick on their toes. So now you mean to tell me I'm going to chase you to pay your freaking bills? And then when you get upset about the way things don't go, you're going to divorce me and take half of what I built that you wasn't here? Oh, okay. I ain't that dumb. And a lot of men are not becoming that dumb anyway. You know what I'm saying? It has to be some type of modern day governmenting, or the government just needs to stay out of families altogether. The government doesn't need to have any part in it. Either they're gonna modernize it, amend and adapt and do everything that they need to modernize these rules and laws, or they just need to stay out of family affairs altogether, unless it's for divorce. See, I think men are coming to a point where men rather do ritual and ceremonies rather than to get the state paper and realize you're married, because marriage is a business, and it's a bad business move on men, especially right if you're getting divorced. Now remember, 60% of marriages end in a divorce, right? So that's a high statistic that you're facing. It's not marriage that men are being scared of. It's the back end. It's the backlash, man. Divorce does nasty things to men. So that's why I say the benefit. Maybe there's a benefit while you're in the marriage. I will say that. Maybe it's a benefit while you're in a marriage to have a partner in the same roof, in the same household. Of course, there's a benefit to that. You know what I'm saying? Especially just having a woman's presence in and of itself can be a benefit in and of itself. But in the long run, was it worth it? We spend all these years, 20 years, and then when it goes bad and all this stuff, now I can't see my kids, I got to fight to do that, and then I got to pay alimony, child support, and all that stuff. What? Somebody tell me in what universe would that? I don't think that women realize, and they would never, I don't think the majority of these women, they would never go against their own best interests. And it's kind of sort of like racism, because, I said a while ago, a long time ago, maybe more than a year ago, I haven't said it in a while, but all white people are racist. And people would look at me like, whoa, yeah, all white people are racist. I know you don't understand that, but let me explain to you. Jane Elliott explained it to us, and I brought it up when I said it, and she proved it, right? She had a room full, she had the blonde hair, blue eye experiment, or whatever. Blonde hair, blue eyes, something like that, right? Where she discriminated against those people that had blonde hair and blue eyes, and she put them in a room. She had the whole experiment and all that stuff, and they didn't like the way they were being treated. But she asked an interesting question, right, to the white folks that was in the room. She said, look, to all of you who would, which one of you would put your white privilege to the side to benefit black people? If you are willing, she said, let me rephrase this, and I'm paraphrasing too. She said, how many of you white folks are willing to throw away your white privilege in order to benefit black people? Raise your hand. Guess how many white people raised their hand in that room? Yep, that's how many. That's exactly how many. None. Zero. And so it's the same thing with the women. How many women would you think will go along with these walls because it's my body, my choice? If the man don't want the baby and all this other stuff, let me tell you about how crazy the law is. Because if a man is not financially stable, a man can't do this. He's a deadbeat. A struggling man is a deadbeat father. A struggling mother, she's just a struggling mother. She's trying to make it. She's trying to do the best she can and all this other stuff. Where is, and like I said, I'm an advocate for men, so I know there's some things that women deal with, but I'm dealing with the men because I'm a man, right? I'm a man. I'm a father. And so what is the benefit of it? Because right now there are a lot of men suffering from marriages, from failed marriages. There's a lot of men suffering from failed relationships. There's a lot of men suffering from having children with women. And there's some women suffering from men too, but for the most part, women don't deal with that. How many women you know on child support? Can you name a woman on child support? I doubt it. How many women went to jail for child? How many women are in jail for child support? They're not. So these are the things. So men are now incentivized to not have kids and to not get married. You don't see that? OMG, you the only one that see that, man. I'm sorry, man. OMG, you got to be the only one that see that. You the only fool. And people gonna say you stupid and all that stuff, but I just read it. I just showed you that the decline in marriages has been happening since the 40s, and it's not just black people. And so it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You can apply this to almost any and every aspect of life, right? Because the government has done this in every facet of life. They've done this to the farmers, right? Especially the small-time farmers. They said, look, either you put out antibiotics and all this other stuff in there, or we're not going to buy it. Because now people are more dependent on the markets than ever. You used to have your chicken coops and all that stuff back in the day. How many people you know with a chicken coop? How many people you know with a pigeon coop and all that stuff? How many people you know have their own land that they basically homestead on? Everything, every resource, they can live off of their own land. See, the government doesn't like that. And it's not going to incentivize that. It's going to incentivize people to go to the markets and depend on these modern medicines. How come we can't say, oh, I know medicine better than the government. I'm going to take my own medicine. I'm self-medicated. No, you better not. You get yourself in a whole bunch of legal trouble. But see, when the government makes a mistake, right, and especially in the medical field and all that stuff, it's just, our bad, and all that stuff. Who would pay for that? Who the F pays for the government F's up? When the government F's up, which it does terribly all the time. When our black women are dying 2.5 times more giving childbirth than any other woman in America, that should be alarming enough for you. That should be alarming enough for us to say, okay, it's cool for us to have our own system. And this is why family is important. Because the more of us that stick together, the strength in numbers, we can go against systems such as the government. And I'm not saying being anarchist and all that stuff. No, it's time to change, buddy. Okay, Uncle Abraham. Okay, Father Washington, George Washington. Okay, Uncle Sam. Big brother. It's time to change some of these joints because, look, everybody, we ain't in 1840 no more. We ain't in 1690 no more. Why the hell we still got laws from the 1770s out here? Why is that still a thing? It's because they are rooted and invested in our ignorance. And I already said that too. They rooted and invested in our ignorance. And that's how they develop stuff like the T-Act and all this other stuff. It is stuff that's made for us to stay divided. That's why they got the red pill and all that stuff, because they don't want the men to go back to our women. And they got the feminist movement because they don't want our women to go back to our men, because now with the man and woman being separated, the government control everything in between, the kids and all that stuff. That's why the government's in every facet of life. We got to get them out of it, man. It's 2025. We halfway through 2025, getting ready to go into 2026. And we still got those same laws. But as I digress, man, I'm going to just say, look, marriage is a good thing. We need more marriages out here, more healthy marriages, not just people being married just for their own ulterior motives, not because women getting married because you see this old guy and all that stuff, and he got money, and he got a bunch of money, and all that. Look, I know this gold digging. Go for your best male suitor. I'm not really into that gold digging thing. Women naturally gonna look for the best male suitor or whatever. But what I'm saying is, there's a fine line between the two, man. It is a fine line between the two. But just because this man got money and all this other stuff, now you want to marry him. The same man, he wouldn't have had a chance. See, a lot of times, people do things out of necessity and not out of choice. And see, these days and times, we want to feel wanted, like it's a choice, and not your second choice, not your third or fifth. We want to be your first choice. People want to be chosen. They want to feel like they're chosen on both sides. It's not. If you tell somebody, I'm just there out of necessity, that's just crazy, right? I've encountered this a lot of times, especially in my dating life, right, where a woman would say, I was bored, and you called me when you was bored. So you just gonna call me when you was bored, and you thought it was acceptable to tell me that you just called me when you was bored? Like, and what planet does that make sense? What about when you're not bored? What about when you have something to do? What about when you want me to tag along? What about that? What about when you're having fun, a great time? Oh, you forget about me, right? That makes no sense. Women say, I had a girl, right? I asked her too, right? I wasn't dating her. I was just messing with her, right? Messing around with her, for lack of better words, right? But I asked her this question. I was like, would you stop messing with me if I cut my hair, right? And she said, yeah, because why would you cut your hair? You ain't going to look right. I said, what in the world? I stopped talking to her. I showed enough date. I stopped talking to her. when women tell me, oh, I like men with dreads and stuff, that's not a compliment to me. That is not a compliment to me. You know how many other men there are with dreads? So that means I'm not even your first option. It's the same thing with this marriage thing, right? As long as you get your ideal marriage, you don't care who is in that picture, right? As long as you can get the wedding on the beach house and all this other stuff, you don't care what man is in that picture. You don't care what his character is. You don't care what his religion is or none of that stuff. As long as you get the wedding of your dreams, that's all that matters. And see, like Dr. Brian said so eloquently, and she spoke so eloquently, she basically said that you like the ideal of marriage, but not the actual person. It's not the person that you are attached to. It's that idea that you're attached to. And boy, is that profound and prophetic. Look, I'm running out of time here and all that stuff, right? Because I want to get to this video too, man. I got some videos I wanted to share with y'all, man. And like I said, it's going to have to be a 2-part series because I'm serious about, restoring back the community. The only way that we're going to restore the community is if we are deprogrammed to what they are programming us to, which is very hard, especially the more and more life goes on with all the social media, with all these things going on in day-to-day life. It's hard to stay sound and to be within reason, within your own mind, because you would think that you're the only one to think like this and you taboo because everybody else going to look at you crazy because now social media has engineered people's thoughts to where as though they think that marriage and it's cool being alone, it's cool being single. Let me say this. After you leave here, this all you got is your family, all your money, all that other stuff. You cannot take that to the grave with you. See, this is the point of life, is to build our legacy while we are here. And our legacy does not depend on how many zeros in our bank account. Legacy all depends on the people and the lives and the souls that we impact and the people that we touch. And it's not a price, it's not a monetary price that you can put on that. See, money can't buy loyalty. Money can't buy you respect. Money can't buy you love. Money cannot buy you happiness. Money can't buy you loyalty. Money can't buy you a lot of these traits. You name it. Money can't buy you that. But for some reason, we equate success to money and not the legacy, not to the lives that we are impacting with people. We're sold out for material things. We don't care about the content of people's characters no more. We like the idea of something and not that person. Anyway, let me go ahead and keep doing this. I don't want to be there's a couple, right? There is a couple I wanted to share, and let me know your thoughts below in the comments. I'm gonna leave off with this video because they seem like a pretty healthy couple, and I like it. And I wanted to leave off on a positive note. You know what I'm saying? And some things you may agree with, some things you may not disagree with, but let's get the conversation started below in the comments. Let's go ahead and run this video real quick. Let's go ahead and run it.
You guys have been married for 28 years, so I know 28 years, it's gotta come with its own challenges.
It does. It comes with, and people ask me all the time, they say, man, how you stay married so long? How y'all stay together so long? I say, well, you gotta go through the stuff, because anybody who's been married 25, 28, 30 years, don't tell me you ain't been through no stuff. You done been through some stuff. We done been through those periods where she didn't like me and I didn't like her, but we just refused to leave and let the other one find happiness with somebody else. That's kind of how we got down. We was gonna renew our vows at 25 years. When we first got married, our wedding song was Always and Forever.
That's right, yes.
But the renewal song was Neither One of Us. Because that's where we was. And anybody who try to act like you ain't been there, you're lying. You lying, you're lying. I'm about to leave this woman out. Man, I can't exist without this woman.
Yes.
Me trying to exist without her is like trying to drive my car with 3 wheels. I can do it, but it ain't gonna end well. You know what I'm saying?
End well.
No, I need her in my life.
Wow, we're gonna go ahead and clap it out for that, brother. We're gonna go ahead and clap it out for that, brother. And that should be inspirational because it shows you the joys and the joys of being married. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure they had rough years and all that stuff. I believe Michelle Obama said for 10 years she didn't like Barack and stuff like that. They're still married. So marriage is definitely something that I've come to understand that it's trying. It's like any other relationship. You're gonna suffer ups and downs. It's just like you got to be able to deal with a person at their worst and at their best, for better or for worse, for sickness and in health, rich or poor. Those are the vows, and I believe true relationships last like that. Anyway, we have marriages that aren't like sensual, marriages, but some of us are married to our jobs, some of us are married to our careers and stuff like that. Some of us are married to the game, married to the streets. But it's still the same concept, because anything that you're married to, you're always going to have those ups and downs. There's never going to be all sunshine and roses, and they say this all the time, but that is true. It's never going to be all sunshine and roses. We have to learn to be consistent in our character, and what I will tell you is that our thoughts become our actions. Our actions over time become our character, and our character over time becomes our image. That becomes our reputation and who we are, and our reputation supersedes us. It precedes us well after we're gone, for those who will remember us. So it does matter, and marriage is important. So don't let social media teach you anything else or teach you anything different. See, we got to find somebody and stick with them and partner with. See, the worst thing that you could do is go through something alone. And have to go through it alone. You're forced to go through it alone because you have nobody else, and it's not good for man to be alone. And so the algorithm is pushing all this singleness and everybody being single, when really the true power comes in when you're connected. See, there's a quote, and I like to say this too all the time: if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, you go together. Again, bars. But if you want to go fast, you go alone. But if you want to go far, you go together. And so let's deprogram ourselves to what we've been programmed to, and let's start to come back to the natural use of man and woman. Look, we're here for a reason. We're here to keep our genes, our generations, our race going. This is our whole purpose in life. Nothing matters more. Your job and none of that stuff, that shit don't matter. Excuse my language, but it don't. You can't take your job with you to the grave. The important stuff that really matters, we are now putting on the back burner due to the algorithm. Let's not let the algorithm destroy our all-time legacy. And that's just a bar for us. BMore4Real. Realest conversation on the internet. Rated R for reality. Brought to you by way of Real Explosions. Rated R for reality. Brought to you by way of Real Explosions. This is the realest conversations anywhere on the internet. If you got something positive, you got something good, if you learned something from the day, make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Especially if this is your first time hearing this program, man. Hit that subscribe button. We appreciate you, man. It's BMore4Real. I'm going to catch you next Wednesday. We are out. BMore4Real.
We planting seeds in the streets where the hearts is cold, where the young ones bleed, where the truth ain't told, where the pain run deep and the dreams get stole. We bring light to the block, the righteous seed will grow. From boys to kings, from girls to queens, no more suffering in our sleep, it's just a righteous dream. We speak light in the mist where the darkness unfold, healing our youth, hoping y'all could save their soul. I told her, bro, you're a king, not a beast in a cage. You was made with a purpose, not to die full of rage. And sis, she don't smile, she just stares through the pain. A victim of our silence and emotional change. But we live off slow, show a prayer still heals. That Yah is still close and his anointing is real. Our trust issues is heavy, it's a war in our soul. Heart been shattered so many times that she barely feel whole. The pain in her past got her walking on edge. But I told her that she royalty, so lift up your head. Cause ain't nobody perfect, yeah we all got scars. But Yah, he see your tears, yeah he there when you call. We planting seeds in the streets where the hearts is cold, where the young ones bleed, where the truth ain't told, where the pain run deep and the dreams get stole. We bring light to the block, the righteous seed will grow. From boys to kings, from girls to queens, no more suffering in our sleep, it's just a righteous dream. We speak light in the mist where the darkness unfold, healing our youth, hoping y'all could save their soul.